Hey there, today I'm going to be talking to you about my 60 or so dives using the Apeks Ascend Reel. We're going to be talking about how I use it, how I set it up, and how I've got on with it over the last 2 years. I must start off by saying that I love it, and I don't think I'd use another reel unless I really had to. The big winner for me is its reliability. I'll talk to you about how I got on with my previous reels and why I changed. Here in the UK, it's important to get a decent DSMB fully inflated up on the surface. Personally, I use it as an aid to my buoyancy. I pass it up to the boat, it gives them something to grab onto, and it's a key part of my diving kit. Even in Egypt, I carry a decent DSMB. I know we don't use it that much out there. The Zodiacs are always floating around above you. But nevertheless, I always feel comfortable in open water with a decent reel and a decent DSMB. This was my first reel. Although it's quite a decent size, it still only held 30 metres of line, and it wasn't reliable. Once it had jammed on the third occasion, I decided that it was time to look for something a little better. I did notice that the more modern reels had brightly coloured either yellow or orange line, much more visible than my little white bit of string, and I thought that was the route to go forward. This is my Apeks reel, nice orange line, 60 metres. And what I did like about it was the handle. First thing I noticed, the handle. There was no way this was going to slip out of my hand. Very easy to grab hold of wearing my gloves, both 5 and 3mm. The Apeks feels strong and robust. It's made of marine grade aluminium and is very, very solid. There is no way this is going to slip out of my hand at my safety stop or while I'm ascending. The handle has been well designed, well thought out, with the diver in mind. There is a really secure mounting point for your bolt snap. Not perhaps best practice, but I've mounted my bolt snap permanently. I would rather this than risk losing my reel and DSMB. I noticed my little bolt was getting rusty, but I haven't got around to cleaning it yet. Not only is the handle made of a nice rubber, but the thumb trigger is exceptionally easy to find and use. This Apeks reel is exceptionally well made and I like it very much. The whole thing feels very firm, very positive. The turning handle is made of aluminium. It has an inset rubber grip, and I've never found any problem with this at all. It almost seems to have roller bearings inside. I really like the line as well. It stands out beautifully underwater. It feeds on and off of the reel very, very easily. And in 2 or so years of diving with it, I've never had any problem. It's never knotted. It always comes on and off of the reel very smoothly and very cleanly. I've marked my line at 6 metres. So I have a visual reference when I get to the 6 metre safety stop point or deco point. In fact, I've got it at 7 metres just to give myself a metre's warning that I'm coming up to a mandatory or a safety stop. When I first got the reel, I wondered if the line was a little bit thin. Apeks managed to get 60 metres on this reel, and I was not fearful that it might be a bit weak, but I did wonder. There was no need though, it is immensely strong. At the end of the line there's a 1 metre loop that's been glued on, so you can attach your DSMB. Rather than feed the line through the loop on the DSMB, I've simply opted to use a sprung-loaded carabiner. It simply sits on the end of the line. Every diver attaches their DSMB and reel together differently. I prefer to have mine so that I can detach them quickly, even with thick neoprene gloves on. This way I can tie my line off onto the shot line if I need to, without any problem. As I said earlier, this particular reel has done close to 100 dives, and it has been well and truly battered. I must say that I'm delighted with the way this reel is holding up. It's showing some small signs of wear and tear, but nothing major. It still works like the day I bought it. One thing that I didn't get on too well with was the Apeks mounting system for mounting the DSMB onto the reel. It's designed for the Apeks DSMB, which has 2 steel hole rings punched at the top of the DSMB, and a bungee goes between the 2 loops on the DSMB and those 2 clips there. So I have opted for my own little patent method here. I've simply looped a large piece of fairly thick bungee around the handle, and this also serves to allow me to put my arm through this when I do my safety stop, so I can actually let go of the handle itself. With my arm or hand or wrist through the loop of the bungee, I've got both hands free, and I know that the reel's not going to go wandering off anywhere. As you can see, I simply loop the bungee over the top of the DSMB and hook it over the handle. The bungee is fairly thick, and it fits over the handle, the winding handle, very, very nicely. It tucks in there, has never come off. My first fear was that it would come undone as soon as I dropped into the water, but it didn't, and it never has done. I've also left a nice long tag on the end of the bungee so that I can grab hold of it with my gloves on, let go of it, and the DSMB and reel are then separate. Most common accidents in scuba diving happen when the DSMB is deployed, and my setup here has worked very, very well for me. I'll be talking next about the AP Valve's self-inflating DSMB, and I'll also be telling you about my new Orca torch, the D630 V2 umbilical canister dive torch, 4,000 lumens. As you can see, the visibility here in the UK this year has been quite appalling. And a few months ago, on a particularly murky wreck, my buddy had a canister torch and he outshone me. I developed torch envy. He could see where he was going, he could see me, but I couldn't. My 1,000 lumen handheld little torch was doing a sterling job, but it wasn't up to the task. If you would like to see my next videos, or you've got any comments or any questions you'd like to ask, please click some of the buttons, either subscribe or leave a comment or do something like that. But anyway, whatever happens, just keep diving and keep diving safely. Take care.